Today, I want to share what I call the 7 C's for success. Principles that have guided me throughout my journey and will serve as powerful navigation tools as you chart your course forward. Now, you may be wondering, why and how did I come up with the 7 C's? Well, recently I had the privilege to be the commencement speaker for one of our local colleges. It was truly an honor and one that I took very seriously because I had the opportunity to not only inspire these recent graduates, but also to help give them some words of wisdom that I thought would set them up for success beyond college. And as I reflected on my career, I thought about the things that have helped me be successful. Lessons that I've learned, sometimes through others, sometimes through mistakes of my own, and sometimes just because of the grace of God. So today, I want to share with you the 7 C's. So let's start with the first C, which is character. You see, your character is your foundation. J.C. Watts, an American politician, pastor, and former college and professional football player, said, "Character is doing the right thing when nobody's looking." I'm reminded of a young professional I mentored who faced an ethical dilemma early in her career. She discovered an error that would have benefited her company financially, but she chose to report it, potentially putting her position at risk. That decision earned her respect and led to positive, systemic changes in her organization. Remember, your character is shaped by your faith, your values, and the company you keep. So, choose your inner circle wisely, for they will either elevate you or diminish your potential. The next C is candor. Words have immense power. They can heal, hurt, build, or destroy. I learned this lesson early in my leadership journey when a colleague took me aside and spoke the truth to me in love about my communication style. She told me that I needed to think about the impact of the words that I spoke to the people that I had the privilege to lead. You see, sometimes as a young officer, my words and my tone were harsh. And while we are in a position to lead, and yes, in the military, people have to follow those orders we give, we still have to remember it is a privilege to lead. And while that conversation was uncomfortable, it helped to transform my approach to leadership. So speak the truth, but always do it with compassion and purpose. Commitment is our third C. Commitment is about excellence, not perfection. Growth occurs in discomfort. Yes, discomfort. During my doctoral studies, there were countless nights when giving up seemed tempting. But commitment meant pushing through those moments of doubt and life. During that time, I was diagnosed with cancer, and praise God, I am now cancer-free. My father also passed away, and my son was actually deployed into a war zone. It was a challenging time in my life, but I also remembered what I had made a commitment to. You see, failure is not the end. It is feedback. So when you fail forward. Your commitment to excellence will be tested repeatedly. But remember, diamonds are formed under pressure. And while I did not achieve my goal to finish my doctorate in 3 years, I did finish. Commitment. Consistency is the fourth C. And it is perhaps the most underrated success principle. Trust is built on consistency, not grand gestures. So think of it like compound interest. Small, consistent actions over time yield remarkable results. We've all experienced this. When we make a commitment to improve on our health or to do something that we haven't done before, to learn a new skill. I remember trying to learn how to ride a bicycle when I was a child. I fell multiple times. But every time I fell, I got back on the bike. You see, that is how we get better. I've observed that most successful leaders aren't necessarily the most talented. I know I'm not, but they are often the most consistent in their habits, work ethic, and integrity. The fifth C is one of my personal favorites, and it's one I always encourage every leader to have, and that is courage. Now, courage isn't about the absence of fear. It's about acting despite it. Being willing to stand alone and being comfortable with being uncomfortable are hallmarks of courage. Now, I know you're thinking, well, of course courage would be important because you're a retired military officer, Kim. But that's not the kind of courage I'm talking about. That's bravery. And our men and women who serve, they are brave. But I want to tell you about a time I remember standing alone on a certain principle early in my career, when it would have been very easy for me to go along with the flow. But I chose to speak up when others remained silent, even though they knew it was not the right decision. Yes, that could have cost me my career, but it didn't, because my leader respected the fact that I had the courage to speak up and to stand on what I believe was true. Those moments defined my leadership journey. So I want to encourage you today. Never let fear make you lose control of your decisions, emotions, and actions. Now, confidence, which is our sixth C, is what I call the secret sauce of success. But let me be clear. True confidence comes from preparation and humility, not arrogance. So do your homework. Know your stuff. When you've put in the work, confidence naturally flows. I've seen too many promising careers derailed by arrogance, masquerading as confidence. Finally, the last C of the 7 is connection, perhaps the most crucial C of all. Success is rooted in relationships. Globally recognized leadership expert, author, speaker, pastor, and my mentor, John C. Maxwell, said, leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It is about one life influencing another. Throughout my career, I have witnessed that the most successful individuals are those who build meaningful relationships across boundaries. They invest in others before they need anything in return. They lead with empathy to cultivate influence and make a lasting impact. So these principles, character, candor, commitment, consistency, courage, confidence, and connection, are not just theoretical concepts. They are practical tools for navigating the complex world in which we live. So you've been equipped with knowledge and skills, but how you apply them will depend on these 7 C's. Your success will not be measured solely by your achievements, but by the lives you touch and the positive change you create. Let me share this. Success is not a destination. It's a journey of continuous growth and impact. You have unique gifts and talents that the world desperately needs. So, lead with character, speak with candor, stay committed to excellence, remain consistent in your values, have the courage to stand firm, walk in authentic confidence, and never underestimate the power of meaningful connections. Make your mark with wisdom, serve with compassion, and lead with purpose. Remember that success begins with who you are, not just what you do. So lead with integrity, live with purpose, and above all, be the change you wish to see in the world.